Hey everyone, welcome to the E2 Effective Elders podcast. E2 is devoted to coaching your elder team to win by providing biblical and practical resources in authentic relationships. E2 wants nothing more than to equip you to move God's kingdom forward in the place you're serving Jesus. Visit us at e2elders.org and please share this good word with others.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us at our E2 podcast. And today we want to always begin by saying thanks to CDF Capital. We are so grateful for their incredible investment in elders across the country, around the world. They have been a longtime partner with E2, and we are who we are today because of their rich, outrageously generous investment in us. So thanks, CDF Capital. And thanks to Barry Park. Barry is the lead minister at University Christian Church in Manhattan, Kansas. Barry, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful. The Chiefs are winning. We're undefeated right now. Patrick Mahomes is doing his magic, and it's still a happening here in the midst of everything. When they did that commercial as the NFL was opening up and football was back and people were going nuts, and I was like, I identify with that. There's a sense of normalcy of just being able to eat some popcorn and watch some football and cheer on your team.
Absolutely. And, when I was on your campus a time or two ago, I was talking in the sermon some smack because the Chiefs were going to play the Colts that very next week. And I ended up eating my words, open mouth, insert foot, chew vigorously. So the Chiefs crushed us that next week. So anyway, maybe revenge will be sweet in the near future. So anyway, hey, listen, bud, in this season of football, we're talking about this book that we've got here called An Elders Playbook.
Yes.
And we're so grateful that you at University use the playbook. And by the way, if you're watching or listening today and you don't have a playbook, just go to e2elders.org. And there you can find a playbook, over 50 plays on different topics and challenges that elders face. And they are 20% off right now during this special season that we're celebrating this fall. We're talking to many church leaders of our different partner churches, and they're calling attention to key plays in their thinking. So Barry, as the lead minister there at University, you got a great group of elders, some tremendously gifted men of God. What play would you call from the playbook for this season right now in which you find yourselves?
That's a pretty clear one for me. It'd be play number 30, Pressures and Life and Ministry. I mean, we're all in a pressure cooker right now. I mean, I know that there are, it's like I received an article from one of my elders just recently that was entitled, Why Your Pastor is Just, I forgot what it was, like a few steps away from turning in his resignation. And he says, I hope this is not you, and I want to make sure you're okay. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm pressing in. This is a time where I want to move forward, but that hasn't always been the case. There have been times when I have just bottomed out, and when I've pushed too hard, when I've gone to where I'll make sure my staff is healthy, but that doesn't mean that I've always been healthy, and it's even been that way with the elders. You along with just the whole everything that E2 has brought to help us as a church. When we moved to elder governance with your help, it changed so much. And then just having the playbook for so many different little things. In the middle of a meeting, someone will pull it out and say, hey, guys, we ought to, and it'll take us over to a certain place. This has already been done for us on something. But on Pressures in Life Ministry, I don't think there's ever a time that you could ask for the elders, the health of the elders, or the preacher to be put forth more and to be watched carefully in terms of need. It's you can't take people where you aren't.
Right. Yes.
And so when it comes down to it right now, If we get unhealthy, if the teams of the leadership of the church are unhealthy, if the preacher is unhealthy, then the whole church is going to be unhealthy. And right now, we're not perfect. Not a one of us are. We all struggle. We all have ups and downs. I have weeks where I'll survey my staff and just say, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Tell me what's going on and kind of why. And there are some weeks that we as the team are pretty low, and then we surround each other, pray for one another, love on one another. But I'm just thankful for just simple things like this, like surviving life's pressures and ministry demands. And then you just kind of go through some basic things of helping understand. There's 2 plays in here, 2 parts of the play that I think are so important. And it comes down, it says, to survive the pressures of life and the demands of ministry, elders must do the same. It says, 1, be surrounded, and 2, be surrendered. And it's going back to a picture of Jesus and how he interacts as well. And, you know, if we are not surrounded by those who are going to hold us up and carry, if we're not walking with brothers in this kind of season, we're going to be in trouble.
Right.
And if we are not submitted during this time, we're going to be in big trouble because if not careful, we're going to bore back and argue about stuff that just doesn't matter.
Right,
And people are trumpeting out things for the church rather than keeping the main thing.
Right.
They're getting sidetracked with these other things. And there's people in the church that are dividing over whether it be social distance, whether it be a mask, whether it be politics, whether it be, at the end of the day, things that make about this much difference versus eternities.
Right.
And so I just know it was about 3-4 years ago, you helped walk through some of my down times and some of my struggles as I came out of that. So when we really connected, it was on my healing journey is when I got to know you. I crashed majorly about 3.5-4 years ago to where I could say it was like I had a wet towel that had just been draped over me. Problem is I hadn't taken a day off and a full day off in literally several years other than when I left town on a vacation. And even then I was still checking my email and checking text and just ridiculous pace. And I had people warning me, and I made sure my staff was healthy. My elders cared deeply about me, but it was all of a sudden I was just empty. And I went to them basically saying, guys, I can't do this. I had something that just kind of snapped inside me, and I had, for the first time in my life, had some like panic almost issues because my body was in fight or flight. That never would have happened if I had made sure that I had surrounded myself and I'd stayed submitted in the right to the same things that I was asking of others. If I had done, I would have taken care of my health. That could have been prevented, and about a 2-year journey of getting healthy again wouldn't have had to happen.
Right.
And so I have a lot of mercy for anyone who's struggling or going through rough times now, especially our elders. We're a tight team.
Yeah.
Now, that wasn't always the case. Before we moved to this whole model that you've walked us through on this journey, we had kind of the normal representative model. Representative of different groups, but now it is absolutely a team that is kind of like the Three Musketeers. Any one of us, we're all there together.
It is obvious. It is night and day. You are a band of brothers.
Yes.
It is so true of the elders of University Christian Church. You are a band of brothers. You know, when I wrote that play, you and I are both preachers, and when we look at the life of Jesus in the Gospel of John, here he is attending a wedding in the village of Cana near the Sea of Galilee, and his mom puts him up to perform his first miracle. And Jesus asks his mom the question, "Woman, why do you involve me?" So here he's got to perform a miracle. There's some pressure on him, and the pressure begins in his ministry, and that pressure continues all the way to the very end. Pressures to heal people, pressures to feed people, and so on. And at the end, he's in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he is praying, sweat drops of blood from his forehead when he feels the crush of the sin of humanity upon him. And so from beginning to end of ministry, he's under pressure, and you have felt pressure. I have felt pressure. Everybody who's in ministry,
Absolutely.
everybody who's leading a church as an elder feels the weight, the pressure of ministry. And we have to learn how to surround ourselves with a band of brothers who will care for us and love us in that moment and in every moment, and then surrender to the lordship of Jesus. You know, Jesus surrendered to the will of God to that cross. And
Absolutely.
We're going to have to surrender. It may be that we're going to go through a season of ministry that's not easy. You went through a season of ministry that was not easy, and you came through that a different man of God. And Jesus walked with you every step through that valley, and today you are leading far more powerfully. And as a result of that season, God really shaped you and formed you for the demand of your on your life today. And you're leading well in this season of life that is so very demanding and challenging. Yep.
You know, coming through, when you go through a valley, God just does not waste valleys. If that is, as long as we're faithful and we're obedient and we're willing to learn, God doesn't waste the valley. That valley has changed my ability to keep my staff in a healthier place. It's made a change in how we do our elders and how we hold one another accountable, and what we do to support one another and encourage one another when anyone gets to a difficult time. It's opened up the honesty. Once I got that honest with my team, guys, if here's where I am, and I laid it out, it also gave permission for them to be that honest and to walk with me, and then allow me to walk with them. And I'm thankful for that. You know, and just to let you know, since then, of what I've done when it comes to making sure my own personal walk is solid, or my days off, I've only worked 2 days in the last 3.5 years on a Friday, which is my day off. And I worked every Friday for years before that, at least a half a day. And only 2, because I learned my lesson. I'm like, pain is a really good teacher. and certain painful things I don't want to go through again.
For real. You know, it's just a delight. And I really do hope that other people who listen to or watch this podcast understand the joy of one another. You know, 53 one another's in the New Testament. And by his great grace, you and so many incredible people at university have found the joy of doing life with one another. Well, I miss being out there. I'm looking forward to my next visit. Hopefully COVID. And COVID, we're going to be on the other side of COVID sooner than later by God's grace. So,
absolutely.
Well, Barry, thank you for leading well. Thank you for being a great encouragement. We at U2 thank you and university for being our partners in ministry. We're better because you're with us.
Oh, thank you so much for investing in us, Gary.
Well, it's our pleasure. Talk to you later.
God bless.